Hello, hello.
Hello.
Happy Monday. I had to force myself to not say Tuesday because
Yes.
it's not our normal night. But welcome, welcome. I was so glad that you were able to help join us on a slightly different night. It's not very often we have to change nights, but we're glad that you all could join us. We're going to do part two of our movement series. So we'll have got a lot more to talk about. And so looking forward to hearing all of your, well, seeing all of your comments. So feel free to comment with any questions, concerns. If you want to go off topic a little bit, feel free. We love interactive comments. So hello, Diane. Welcome back. If you're new here, feel free to comment where you're watching from, or if you're one of our regulars, feel free to say hello. I love having all of our regular people here as well.
Absolutely. And like he said, thank you guys for being flexible this week and joining us on Monday instead of Tuesday. Next week it will be regular time, regular day. So back to normal next week.
Yes. Hi, Kay and Joy. Joy is hooping away. She's got one of those
Waited.
weighted hoop things. I forget exactly what it's called, but you just basically do a lot of dancing and the hooping, and then you, as you lose your inches, you take some of the links out, and it looks a lot of fun, and it also looks like a lot of work too. So
Yes.
glad that you're enjoying that. So we're going to continue our talks about the movement. So last week we talked a lot about our cardio, talked about kind of the levels, the heart rate levels, and recommendations there. Go ahead.
And just a reminder, if you did miss that,
Oh,
it
yes.
is on YouTube. If you need to go back, it should be on Spotify as well. So if you need to listen and
And
not
Apple
watch,
Podcasts.
Apple Podcasts. He's all about Apple. But if you did miss that and just want to recap of what we said, it is on YouTube, Spotify, Apple.
Absolutely. So feel free to catch up and also look at some of our other topics we've done as well. Hello, Blue Bonnet on YouTube. And Mom is watching as well. Thanks for watching. All right, so we did talk about cardio last week and some of the cardio fitness zones to be in. We talked about how cardio is good to burn calories in the moment, but it's kind of like that. It only, you only burn calories while you're actively doing the cardio. So we'll talk a little bit more about cardio this week, and then we'll move on to strength training and some maybe benefits to make sure that you actually incorporate strength training because I'm lazy sometimes, and I say lazy, but I just get on the treadmill and I do cardio most of the time. And I probably should get some strength training in there. So we'll talk about some of the benefits there, and going there. So wanted to talk about the cardiovascular, as we talked about, is really good for your cardiovascular health and burning calories in the moment. But we also want to mention with any activity you're doing, you want to increase your hydration levels.
Make sure you're getting your water.
So we've done some research, and a lot of research says that for every hour of exercise you do, depending on how intense it is, get an extra 24 ounces because the more you move, the more you're going to lose.
Yes, and I have an app that like I've talked about this app before. It's called Hydrate with an I. But it will calculate my water goal every day depending on like water, activity, not water, weather, activity, my weight, all those kind of things. And I've noticed the days I am active, like it does add probably a good 20 to 30 ounces that day. I'll wake up and be like, oh, that's not too bad. And then as the day's going on, there's like an extra 30 ounces. I'm like, oh, well, I need more. So, like you said, even like that app will take activity into consideration.
Yes, and another thing to think about is as you're working out and you're sweating, you're losing a lot of electrolytes. So just plain water might not do it all the time. So want to try to replenish some of the electrolytes so your body can absorb the water properly. So if you're drinking a whole bunch of water after an exercise or during an exercise and you don't have enough electrolytes, your body won't really be able to absorb it, and it won't be really beneficial. So make sure if you're losing all that salt and that sweat, I know my forehead is all salty a lot of times after I work out. Make sure you kind of replenish those electrolytes as well.
Yes, and Chris has mentioned before, you can make like a homemade Gatorade by literally like we take the drink packets and water, and you can put literally a pinch of salt in there, and it's a homemade Gatorade. You don't need much of the salt in there, but just a little bit of salt will help replenish because people act like salt is bad. You need salt. You might not need 5,000 a day.
No, you don't need a lot.
But you do need some salt in your life. So.
Absolutely. So salt is one of the more common electrolytes. There are others.
Yes.
I've not done a whole lot of research on them specifically, but Salt is one of the more common ones. And so then we also talked about last week a little bit the heart rate zones 1 through 5. The most important zones for cardiovascular health and doing cardio are zones 2 and 4. And so we talked about last week how zone 2 burns more of the actual fat, where zones 4 and 5 burn more carbohydrates, the stuff that you've eaten that day. So there are some recommendations that we have and that we've done ourselves, and we've also done some research on how much of those zones you should be in each week. So zone 2 ideally is recommended for 1 to 2 hours per week if you're kind of in the beginner stage, if you're not done a lot of working out. But if you're like us and you've done a lot of working out, we've worked out 4 to 5 days a week for years, and we're just a little more advanced. So those that are more advanced should get 3 to 4 hours of zone 2 or level 2 heart rate. But zone 4, you should have 1 to 2 sessions a week. So you shouldn't be pushing yourself this hard that much. I know it's really sometimes tempting to push yourself the hardest every single time you work out. But ideally, 1 to 2 harder sessions per week, not too much because you don't want to get fatigued. And then if you're in that beginning stage, 20 to 30 minutes. And then if you're more advanced, 30 to 60 minutes. And it should be done in intervals. So what I do sometimes is I'll go and push real hard for 2 to 3 minutes, and then slow down and kind of catch my and this is almost like a HIIT workout in
I
itself
was literally
too.
about to say that's why HIIT workouts are so nice, because you're working, then you're resting for like 30 to 60 seconds. Then you're working, then you're resting. And that really helps. It helps you burn more calories that way. It helps your heart.
Also helps you go a little longer because you've got those breaks between. But HIIT stands for high intensity interval training.
Yes.
So HIIT. So definitely pretty beneficial. So I'll go, 4.5, 5 miles an hour for 2 minutes, and then I'll go down to 3 miles an hour for a minute or so, and then go back and then do this, for however long I can do for 1 to 2 times a week. So, but generally speaking, most of my regular kind of workouts, I try to be in zone 2 for like an hour for that session. So keep an eye on that. So you don't want to push yourself too hard on that. So next, we're going to talk about some of the benefits of strength training and why it's important to make sure you get that in. And this is a good reminder for us. But strength training helps build your muscles, and the more muscles you have and the more healthy your muscles are, the more your body can burn calories without actively moving as much. So when we talked about cardio, you burn your calories while you're doing it, but if you're doing the strength training, you get those longer benefits of burning calories.
Yes, that's actually exactly what I was going to say. That's why he said earlier that cardio, literally what he just said, but it burns it. You're burning more in the moment, but afterwards you're pretty much done.
Mm-hmm.
But with strength training, you're building those muscles to continuously burn the calories and helps you lose more weight in the long run.
Well, not only that, but the thought process that I was just thinking too, that you have a 30-minute strength training session, you probably will continue to burn some calories as you cool down and finish your day. Whereas when you're finished with your cardio session, that's pretty much it.
Yes. Also, with strength training, some people just think it's expensive because they feel like you have to go to the gym. You have to have this expensive equipment. That's not, you can use body weight. You can use resistant bands, which, I've seen resistant bands at Dollar General and Five Below before. But you do not have to have expensive weights. I've even seen people take like laundry detergent and just hold it in their hands, or like canned goods, and basically use whatever they had around the house.
And there's a lot of strength training that you can do also that relies on body weight. Inclined push-ups, because I don't have a lot of good upper body strength, so there's traditional push-ups are really difficult for me, so I can do inclined push-ups, curls, crunches, squats. All of that can be done with body weights. Then you can, as you mentioned, those cheap resistant bands are also something you can get. They've got some sets. I've had a coworker, after we had our wellness session, just got a cheap set off of Amazon.
Yes. And but with that being said, if you do have access to a gym,
Mm-hmm.
it definitely is amazing to go and use the equipment that they have. I used to, when I first started strength training, I did it all at home
Mm-hmm.
because we weren't going to the gym at the time. But when I started going to the gym, it really did up my game. Like, I was working out different parts of my body that I didn't really work out. I was able to do things that I didn't think I could do otherwise, and just things with equipment that I didn't have at home. I mean, there's only, like, I'm not saying you cannot only use weights, but there's only so many things you can do with the weights, as opposed to the equipment. But with that being said, you can still do so much with just weights if that's all you have.
Mm-hmm.
So like I said earlier, don't feel like you have to go to a gym, but a gym does help if you want to do more or heavier.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And then the whole point of this is to start off small and then build up. You don't want to go heavy at first and then hurt yourself.
Yes.
But not only that, but since we've not really been doing strength training in a while, we've lost some of that. So when we go back, we can't do the same resistance and the same weight as we did when we were doing it consistently.
Yes. When I first started, I could barely do 5 pounds. Like, sometimes I had to do 3. And then I was getting to the point where I could do 30, 40 pounds on some things. Now I'm definitely not there anymore. Because I haven't done strength training in a very long time.
Okay. So this topic is going to be a good reminder for us, so that we need to do both cardio and strength training. So you should ask us again, maybe next week, to see if we've been able to incorporate any strength training in, because we need some.
I love strength training now, so
I don't like it as much.
I'm all for it. But I've also been doing lots of step bets, and so the treadmill gets me those steps. So.
Absolutely. So kind of keep us accountable. So maybe next week, just ask us if we've been able to do any strength training. I've been trying a little bit occasionally, get my weights and do some stuff while I'm working, but it definitely would need to get up there a little more. So we say start off lower, build up the resistance, and get to a higher weight. And then ideally, if you plan on doing 3 to 4 strength training sessions per week, then you can then rotate and do different body groups. So upper body, lower body, kind of push and pull type thing.
There was actually, I can't remember the app I used. I don't remember the
Fitbod.
Fitbod. It will actually tell you like the percentage of your muscles that you've used that week and when they need to be in a recovery phase, which I liked because I loved working my biceps, I loved working my back, but I would work those to the point that there was like nothing left to give. And so the app really did help. So there are apps out there that will show you, like, if you put in the workout that you did, the weights and everything, it'll show you like how much percentage of muscle you've like used, if that makes sense. So that you know to rotate to this other part the next day because that body part needs some rest.
So you need to make sure that you give your the muscle groups that you're working a rest, because when you're doing strength training, you're basically making little micro tears in your muscles, and you need to give your body a chance to fill in those little micro tears with new muscle. So you've got to give you a chance to recover.
Yes, and I don't know if this is anywhere on here, so I'm sorry if I am jumping. Sorry, I was talking about his notes. But one thing to remember, if you do start strength training, you will bloat at the beginning. Because like you said, with those micro tears, when your body's sore after working out, especially after strength training, your water is kind of, basically there's water forming around those muscles to kind of try to help heal them faster. And you're going to retain that water that's around those muscles. So I always know if my thighs are sore, I'm going to be bloated. The scale's going to be up the next day. If my arms are sore, the scale's probably going to be up because I'm bloated because of that. So don't freak out if you start strength training and all of a sudden, like, you're not losing weight, you're actually going up, because you will retain some water, especially at the beginning, but then eventually your body's going to kind of get used to it.
And that wasn't in my notes, so it's a good point, but that also is another good call out and a good reminder, kind of a throwback from when you really focused on the strength training. The scale kind of consistently went up a little bit.
It just kept going up, but I lost 4 sizes, and
so she was gaining she was gaining muscle mass. So she was gaining, but the inches were coming off. So that's also another thing to consider.
Yes, you will not lose weight as quickly strength training, but your body is going to transform, and you're going to be like, who is that I still sometimes go back to my transformation pictures from my first 8 weeks because I'm like, the difference in just 8 weeks, just from being consistent with strength trainings, is insane.
Mm-hmm. Yes. So when we have a little when we get closer to the gym, we can go a little bit more often. I would like to get more consistent with the strength training, but she did that 8 week kind of plan by somebody, and it just wasn't it was amazing to see her progress and see her increase her strength. She was going and using these machines after these people that had the stereotypical thinner frame. They looked healthier, but she was she would go behind them, and she'd have to increase the weight,
make it heavier. Yeah.
And she was doing more weights than some of the people that you would look at and think they're healthier because they were thinner, but she was doing more weights.
Mm-hmm.
So that's definitely something to think about. So keep an eye on that, but make sure you try to incorporate some of the strength training in there as well. And then so kind of give you an idea of how much strength training you should do. You should do 4 to 8 exercises in one workout, and then do 2 to 4 sets of 6 to 15 reps. So she'll give you a couple of examples because out of the two of us, she's the strength training pro.
Well, first I was going to say that if you're just completely lost, because I would not have known where to start, YouTube is a great place to start. They have so many workouts, and they have a lot of body weight only workouts as well. But what he was saying with like the sets and the reps, like for instance, if it would be like curls, it would say to do 3 sets of 10 at a certain weight. So you would do the 10, take a rest for like 30 to 60 seconds, do the 10 again, take a rest, do the 10 again. And the whole, like, if it's too easy, that's how you know to increase your weight. If it's too hard, decrease your weight. But it should be challenging, but not to the point that you can't do it.
Absolutely. And
also not to the point where you're hurting yourself too.
Yes, there are some people out there that try to. They do what it's called go to failure. They basically kind of try to do as many reps as they can until they lose their strength and they end up dropping the weights, and that's not necessarily the most healthiest way to go either. So
or not all the time.
No,
because the program I did have a couple days here and there where you were supposed to do that, but it's not healthy to do all the time.
Yeah, absolutely. So keep an eye on that. And you can, if you have the ability to, if you're in an area, it's at the gym and there's not a lot of people at the weights, you can do one exercise, do one set, and then go to a different body part and do another set there as your rest, because you're resting your other body parts, and then go back and forth. If you have access to multiple different pieces of equipment, you don't want to hog all the equipment, but you can go back and forth, or you can just flat out do your rep and then rest for 30 to 60 seconds. And
I enjoyed my rest time, so I just straight up rested in between my sets.
Absolutely. So we kind of talked a lot about last week, and this week we talked about steps being movement, cardio, strength training. So kind of the base level of exercise that we should kind of aim for is at least 7,000 steps per day on average. Try to do 2 strength trainings per week, and then do about 75 minutes to 150 minutes of cardio each week. That's kind of, and then also, as our Apple Watches tell us, it says 5 minutes of stand time per every hour if you're able to. Granted, the watch will give you the credit after like a minute. But that's kind of the base recommendation for general health. But ultimately, the goal, especially if you're trying to increase your fitness and lose your weight and then be more healthier, the goal we've been kind of striving for, minus the strength training, we've not done that as much, but 10,000 steps on average per day if you can, 4 strength training sessions a week, and about 180 minutes of cardio per week, and then try standing more than you said, which can be challenging sometimes, especially for me that has the desk job. And don't look at that and say, I just can't do that.
Yes, because at the end of the day, any movement is better than no movement. If all you have today is 10 minutes, do 10 minutes. If all you can do is 2,500 steps, that's better than 2,000. And like Chris mentioned last week, just try to increase your steps per day. If you're only doing 2,000 or 3,000 right now, you're not going to be able to get 10,000. I mean, you might be able to, but it's going to be rough.
Mm.
So just increase it. If you're doing 3,000 on average, try 3,500. The next week, try 4,000. Like just gradually increase it until you get to where you want to be. And because like we said, any movement is better than no movement at all. And then also like there's just people with mobility issues. There's people, there are so many things out there, and we've had a whole topic on this. But there's so many things out there that you can do even if you have mobility issues. There's sitting workouts.
Mhm.
There's wheelchair workouts. Just so many things. So please do not let feeling like, one, you're not doing enough,
Mhm.
or two, just feeling like you can't do it at all, keep you from being active.
Exactly. And somebody mentioned last week they had arthritis in their knees and they struggled. We generally don't have arthritis issues, but occasionally Courtney's knees, her knees.
I have knee issues.
Yep.
I don't know if it's arthritis. I do know it runs in my family,
Mhm.
so maybe, but I have knee issues. Actually, they're hurting right now. So, but yeah. So, like I said, I have knee issues, and I do on average 10 to 12,000 a day. So don't let that stop you. And I will say it hurt more at first, and you kind of get used to it. And I know it might be different with actual arthritis, but just do what you can.
Yep, and find some lower resistance things. Like if you're able to get to the gym, they've not gym, I meant pool. They have pool weights that they can use that outside the water are really super easy. But when you submerge them in water, it adds resistance.
Those things will work you out. I mean, I would get in there and it would be intense.
So try pool workouts, water aerobics. Those types of things that are better on those of you that have mobility issues or you have arthritis, and that helps get your movement in. And that sometimes also does both. It gives you a little bit of cardio workout where it gets your heart rate up, but also adds the strength training element where you're struggling to move underwater because water is difficult to move around in sometimes.
Yes, but like he said, the pool is great if you have mobility issues. People with bad knees and stuff. Pool's like probably one of the best workouts there are. And like a lot of times when you're in the pool, you don't even realize you're working out. Like Chris will be doing laps. I mean, his heart rate's kind of up, but it's not like a full-fledged workout. Like it's just fun.
Yeah, it's more fun, and you don't realize that you can get kind of lost in it. And then also, if you have a kid in there, just throw the kid around, and that'll be a little workout.
Yes, actually, kids can be great workouts. I used to do baby, like I would take the babies and just like
lift them up.
It would seriously work me out. And like, so if you have a kid, you can always incorporate your kid somehow, especially if you have a little one. Like, there's so many things you can do with your kid that would like get their energy out, but also help you like get some movement in the process.
Absolutely. So we just wanted to remind you of the health benefits of movement in general and being more active, and encourage you to start somewhere, whether it's just a little bit or and then gradually build yourself up, just to help get you healthier, because your eating habits are only a part of it. The movement is also going to add, so the two working together will help form a better you.
Yes, and starting small is better than not starting at all.
And same with food. We start small. We start removing some things at first. So just small baby steps, and it'll get, before you know it, you'll be where you need to be.
Because like I said, I do get a ton of steps, but I was not always getting that many steps. It took steps, literal steps, but baby steps getting to where I am now. And now, like, I think I'm at like 13,000, and it really didn't take much effort at all. It was second nature.
Absolutely. So this kind of wraps up our movement/exercise series. If you have any topics that you'd like to talk about, anything in particular that you'd like for us to do some research or share our side of things, feel free to comment or send us a message and let us know what you'd like to talk about. But we're here for you.
And also, it's been a while since we've done like a Q&A week. So if that's something that interests you, just let us know, and that might be something we can add in soon. Because last time we had a Q&A week, it was a lot of fun.
It was one of the more active comments.
Yeah, and it was a lot of fun for us.
Absolutely. So let's move on to the recipe. I didn't.
You forgot to switch out the picture.
I forgot to switch it. So let me switch over to the recipe slide, and then I'll this is last week's recipe. So let me replace this one with the current. It's what happens when we try to rush things. Make sure this is the right one. Yes. This one's an exciting recipe. It is dessert. Let me see if it actually will change it. Come on. Isn't technology wonderful? Come on.
Yay!
There we go. All right, so this
Okay,
is
so
recipe.
this is one I was gonna save for like summertime, but it's just too good not to go ahead and share.
And it's kind of getting summery temperatures.
That is true. I mean, it's getting hot here. This is a lemon ice box cake. So easy. No baking required. Like, it's the simplest thing in the world.
And it's extremely customizable. So if you
It
don't like
is.
lemon, you can try something different.
Absolutely. I actually thought about trying it with like cherries and cheesecake pudding mix, but I'm getting ahead of myself. So what you need is 2 packs of sugar-free lemon pudding mix, or whatever flavor you want. This is very customizable. 3 cups of milk, 16 ounces of fat-free Cool Whip, or any kind of Cool Whip you like. That's 2 of the like standard size containers. And then a box of graham crackers. I use the low-fat Honey Maid brand, but you can use whatever you want. But in a bowl, mix together the pudding mix. I don't know why I keep looking at the screen when it's literally right here in front of me. In a bowl, mix together the pudding mix and milk, and then mix that until it's nice and thick. It usually takes like between 3 and 5 minutes. And then fold in one of the 8-ounce packages of Cool Whip into the pudding mixture. And then in a 9x13 baking dish, add a layer of about 8 graham crackers to the bottom of the baking dish. Add half of the pudding mixture on top of those graham crackers. Then spread it out like evenly. And then repeat those layers. 8 graham crackers, the other half of the pudding mix. Then add 8 more graham crackers to basically finish off the box of graham crackers. And then your container of Cool Whip. You can also top it with like lemon slices and lemon zest if you want a little bit more lemony flavor. But it's very good. It's very refreshing. It's not like too crazy sweet. But it's very, very good. And like I said, you can switch out the pudding mixes. Like I'm thinking about trying it with cheesecake and then topping it with like strawberries for like a strawberry cheesecake.
For me, I think the pistachio pudding would be really good.
So this is so customizable. And I've even thought about trying, I don't know how it would work, but I've thought about trying it with Jell-O mix because they have so many more fruity flavors. I don't know how that would work. I will get back to you guys if it does work. But either way, this is delicious, customizable. It makes 15 servings. You can make it more if you would like more or less servings. And 15 is still a pretty decent size. So.
Yeah, and it's anywhere from 3 to 6 bites, 159 calories, and 29.4 net carbs.
Yes, and there's like no protein in it. 3.5 grams protein if you're counting your protein too.
But this gets your kind of sweet tooth fixed.
You could substitute the milk for a protein shake, and then if you really do want some protein in there. If you
we love substituting or adding protein shakes into things, making ice cream with it, all kinds of things. So that will definitely give you a little bit of protein content in there. Absolutely. So we hope you enjoyed tonight's topic.
Yes, and thank you guys again for joining us a day early.
Yeah, so next week we'll be back at our normal day and time, so Tuesday night at 7:30, and we will be here on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube.
Yes.
All right. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your week. Enjoy.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.